I'm there. Keep it going, lad.
Say you had to take a snapshot of that flashback and put a subtitle to it. Something that said something negative about you now as a person. What would you write underneath it?
About me?
Yes, something negative.
I wasn't quick enough.
I wasn't quick enough. For not being quick enough, what type of a person does that make you in your life?
Unprofessional. Life is precious, and they have no idea.
Marty,
Hello.
how are you, brother?
I'm good. Not too bad.
Yeah, it's every now and well, it's not every now and again. At the moment, it's almost about 4 times a day. I meet someone through the social media thing or the LinkedIn or whatever, who's just got an absolutely fascinating story, who's done so much stuff with their life that I'm quite happily envious, I think is the right word. So it's great to meet you.
Good. I'm a legend in my own mind.
That's the main thing. That's what we're aiming for, though, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I could. I'm 39 and I could have written 3-4 books by now, but it's just that's who I am. That's who I was. That's me. You know, I'm not an office person. You can't contain me. You know, with walls. I'm always out and about around the world, making stories, basically.
So, filmmaker, producer, you writer, editor, all this kind of good stuff. What was the devil film called? Sorry, it slipped my mind.
So Hostage to the Devil was my first, my debut feature doc. Went on Netflix in 2017 worldwide, so 62 territories.
And that was about a priest, wasn't it? Who used to exorcise people or exorcise demons from people.
Yeah, exercise people, on a treadmill. So it's basically the premise of the film is we look at this former Jesuit priest from Kerry in Ireland who left the Vatican during Vatican II, where they tried to sort of modernize the Catholic Church. He was one of hundreds of priests and nuns who left, and he found himself in Manhattan in New York, and then set up like an underground sort of movement of exorcists. The main question for the film is, does this man tell the truth, or is he an absolute sociopath? He was the first priest, I believe, to use radio and TV appearances to spread his message about the existence of demons and the devil and God. It took me 6 years to make the film. So I fluctuate between television, film. Within film, I fluctuate between factual content and fiction, so working with actors on fictional live action content. And I also do factual, but the issue with factual is it takes so long to write the story, because you'll find a great story in the paper, or it'll fall on your lap, or someone will email you with a story. Then the more you start digging, the story and the narrative changes. So Hostage to the Devil, 8 years ago now, was a totally different film then to it is now. And with the factual story constantly evolves. You'll ring someone up and they'll, with an idea of what they're going to give you with content, and then the next minute you're down this rabbit hole or down this other avenue. So I do like factual. I do love drama. Drama is my ultimate passion, but it takes a long time to get into drama. But factual is extremely interesting just as much, but it takes a lot longer to execute. With a script, with a fictional script, you've prepped, you've executed, you've posted it, you edited it, you've delivered it, you've sold it. That can be done in 12 months. So give me 12 months over 6 years any day. You know, you're giving a part of your life away over those 6 years. But it's just I've been obsessed. You know, 80s kid from Liverpool. This is my posh voice, my interview voice, and I work with a lot of Americans who haven't got a fucking clue what I'm saying, so I have to slow the accent down and, you know, talk very slowly, like I'm not fucking, what's it called?
Hey,
what's that?
Marty, they've been getting a lot of bloody Liverpudlians on their popular American.
Yeah. Well, they all think all Brits sound like Downton Abbey people, but they don't. When they meet me, they're like, "What the fuck are you talking? What are you even saying to me?" You know, they just see my mouth move, and like it's funny because a bloke the other day overheard him. He was like, I was doing something else, and I overheard this conversation with these two builders, and one of them said, I was working with a Scouser last week. And he went, oh, what was that like? It's like, when I was speaking to him, it was like a modem going off. And it's hilarious, absolutely hilarious. But so when I work with Americans, or if I'm on radio shows or interviews, I've got to really sort of slow it all down. So I have no idea what I've just bum steered that conversation. But what was the question again?
Well, just anyone who watched that, excellent. I don't watch a lot of mainstream. I'm not massively into Netflix and all that. I just it's too much good stuff in life to spend watching too much. I watch the screen all day, as it is. So. But one thing I did catch was this kickboxing MMA series. I think it was called Gladiator. I might be wrong. If somebody can put it in the comments, people will already know the series I'm talking of. It was really good. They're all into bloody drugs and fighting, and but in that, one of the bad guys was, I think he played a pimp. I'm pretty sure he was from Liverpool. And also, isn't the Big Lebowski? Isn't there a guy in the Big Lebowski? He's Liverpudlian. He plays the kind of
what was it? 51 States, was it? With not Denzel Washington, Samuel L. Jackson. There was a scout about Liverpool drug. I mean, it's most Americans think you know they obviously connect the Beatles with Liverpool as well. So they most of their family members have probably come through Liverpool ports at one stage anyway. So especially the Americans. So so sorry to get back. 80s kid, always been obsessed with filmmaking. But I've always had two passions in my life, thankfully. I mean, some people only have one passion in life. I have two, and one was soldering, military aspect, and then the other one was filmmaking. But I knew I needed to get some sort of my soldering experience out the way first while I was young and still had knees and a lower back. And then I always knew that I would eventually fall into filmmaking full time.
So Marty, I'm thinking about a lot of my audience here.
Yep.
Let's take the fighting first.
Yeah,
and then we'll come back on to.
Well, you fight in the film world as well.
Well, it's just ironic that the film stuff is obviously more fascinating to me these days. Way more fascinating. I wish
my military did some shit anyway, so don't worry. We can get that out of the way.
So you took an interesting route to get the green beret. Which was through the RMR. So
I'm 100% rubber dagger right here. So really, it was in my second year of university. I was trained to be a secondary school teacher, and I didn't think I would. I always wanted to join the military, join the Royal Marines, and I was in my second year of uni. I was 19, and I said to my mum, I said, I think I'm gonna. Been off the uni with life and just, crack on with my Royal Marine sort of career. And she was like, you know what, you're halfway through the course, and it was my dad, he was a former Matlow. He said, look, there's a RMR base in HMS Eaglet in Liverpool. Pop down and see what you think. I went on the website, Royal Marine website, watched all the Gucci videos, and I just rocked up one day and I thought, you know what, this might work. And to cut a long story short, it took me about 18 months to get my green lid in the end, because it's over weekends and over, you do two-week blocks over the year. And it just takes a long time to get your green lid. And it was a backdoor way of getting in. I mean, we do get a lot of stick from a bootneck mates, but regular mates. But I went into the Corps with a university degree, A-levels, and also with the green lid as well. So I sort of hit both. I did both checklists at the same time, and I never looked back, and like in all walks of life, it depends on how much you want to put into something. For me, I threw myself into the RMR and flipping heck, I had an incredible time with them. It was one of those moments where you become a train rank and they get you all in the room and they ask you, who wants to do this course, who wants to do all that on the notice board. And one day, Stripey came in and said, who wants to do an S3s, a signals course? And everyone's looking around and fuck, I'm not fucking doing a signals course because everyone wants to do the PWs or whatever they want to do. And I was like, oh, fuck it, I'll do an S3s. So I did my signals course, but I was the only one train rank in the whole of the RMR in the UK. I'm talking Scotland, Mersey, London, you name it, Newcastle. I was the only train rank in the RMR if you want to do an S3s. So rather than sort of bin the course, I ended up going on the tail end of an S2s in Lympstone, the regular S2s, and it was just an incredible experience. And to cut a long story short, I got my S3s, and then there was a place going in a TACP, Tactical Air Control Party, in my unit. And obviously a natural transition from doing an S3s is to go into the sort of the JTAC to TACP world. So I then attached myself to the TACP, 608 TACP, who ended up being the only bootneck TACP in the end because everyone sort of amalgamated into FSTs, which I'll go on a little bit later. And then from TACP, I went on a jumps course. I went on a 2-week jumps course, got my wings, and then I started training up in RAF Leeming in Yorkshire way, and it was just pinching myself, it was just it was a route. I wouldn't say it was a traditional route for a reservist, but I was like, right, this is, I'm getting all this great, options here, and I was at this same time I was a teacher in a really good school, a really good job. I was a PE and outdoor education teacher, and back at the RMR unit, the notice came up saying looking for lads to become part of a force protection troop in Iraq. And I was like, I can't let this one down. I've got to do this, and I just walked into the school, into my head of department, and said, look, I'm leaving the end of the year. I'm going to Iraq. This was TEDx 7 by this stage. It was quite late on, and it was just purely force protection. And she was great. She said, yeah, okay, go for it. Do it. I know you want to do it. You're bursting to do it. Go for it. So I'd been with teaching job, the contract gone, and then I was Lance Corporal at this stage. And then we went to Iraq as part of a force protection troop, and it was just, again, I was warned, oh, Marty, don't do it. You're going to be staggering on the gate all fucking day. And it wasn't. It was the total opposite. We were, convoys, force protection, as just boat patrols, and it was great. I was actually made a corporal in country, and shit me pants, because you've gone from being one of the lads as a Lance Corporal to being made up to a corporal. Now you sort of, first of all, you live in different accommodation, and now I'm like in charge of the blokes, in charge of the lads. And my biggest fear was losing the lads, 100%, making that call, explain to the parents that how their child was lost under my control. And that was a massive fear for me, was losing blokes, 100%.
How does it work, mate? If you get made up in the field, do you have to do a junior command course when you come home?
Yeah, as soon as I got back, I went on my juniors. As soon as I got back, I was pretty shit hot. You can imagine I was doing I was doing orders in convoy briefs, and it was just, I went strong to my juniors, and don't get me wrong, it was still hard, but when it came to the orders and exercises and stuff, it was just, it was a natural transition, and all that experience in Iraq it just gave me so much. So yeah, it's so big. Yeah, it was weird, because I went messing around with the lads to, right, Marty's leaving now. He's going in a different grot with the stripey and the sergeant major and the boss. And it was like, all right, see you lads. And it wasn't that sort of black and white, but I felt like, the lads weren't asked. They couldn't be asked. They were a little bit jealous because my accommodation was slightly better. This is Iraq, for fuck's sake, so it wasn't great. But, and it was just an incredible experience, and transferable skills as a leader, a section commander, and do my juniors. And then straight after, I did some more training with the TACP, and then I went to Herrick 5 and with 3 Commando Brigade. I did 2 Christmases back to back, so it was fucking horrible. Like, it was crazy. And
so just to clarify, when you were with the tactical, I've had to write it down because I'm not good on military slang.
Sorry, man.
Tactical Air Control Party.
Yeah.
Did you say that's all run by RMR reservists, or is that a main unit?
Yeah, so there was a few TACPs around. Years ago now, there was about 3 or 4 regular TACPs, and there was 1 reserve TACP, always a reserve TACP. And by Herrick 5, when Herrick 5 came along, all the TACPs had sort of basically what happened, and for better purposes, they amalgamated all the TACPs with the mortar fire controllers, with the snipers and the fire support group, the GPMG gunners. So we all came one fire support team, which made sense because, you know, having to sort of relay in communications between different OPs and stuff. Everyone just came together. And that's what happened at Herrick 5. We just all came together with 148 battery and we just cracked on with Herrick 5. And my time was split between manning the strike desk at Lashkar and going out on the ground with the fire support team. So
wow, so you've been in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because Iraq, I was filling out shot reports every bloody day. You know, the lads were, you know, warning shots and stuff. And I'm having to do bloody shot reports every day. And in Afghanistan, totally different. You know, no shot reports. Here's your ammo. Crack on. You know, get the rounds down. That's it. So it was like the chalk and cheese when I was out there.
So it's interesting you say like for people listening.
Yeah.
The RMR, the slang name, the nickname is Rubber Dagger.
Yeah.
The insinuation is it's a rubber dagger because you didn't go through the Limpston. No. Well, not Limpston. Everyone goes to Limpston, but you know you didn't go through recruit training. But
no.
I'll come on to a question for you, but before I do, I just want to say my experience. I found myself in the Northern Ireland conflict.
Yeah.
Soldiering away with guys, and it wasn't until halfway through that tour, maybe even when we got back home, that I found out they'd come through the RMR. I mean, it genuinely wasn't any kind of it. Just to clarify for people who might wonder this, there was no, it wasn't like us and them or anything like that. I never saw that. I wish I did see it because one of them was a bit of a knob, and then I could have like I could have needled him a bit, but no, it's just, you know, if you got a green berry, you got a green.
Yeah.
Berry.
I mean, the most stick we got from blokes were blokes who'd never served with us before, and don't get me wrong, there's jack bastards, there's fucking biffs, and there's good blokes in regulars and reserves. You know, it's the same. We speak the same tests.
The jack bast. Can you just explain jack bastards and biffs? If we use we got to tell people
like subtitles. So, for example, an example of a jack bastard is I'm going to say get a wet, but I'll also tone that down. A jack bastard, for example, is someone gets himself a cup of tea and then fucks off and drinks his cup of tea, rather than say, lads, I'm going for a cup of tea. Anybody want a cup of tea? That's not being a jack bastard. A jack bastard is getting his own cup of tea and fucking off.
I didn't make you one, mate. Sorry.
It wouldn't travel well, mate, to Belfast. And obviously a biff is, I'm trying to be politically correct here, a biff is...
a useless bloody person.
Yeah, human baggage. Well, we got stick, and it was part of being a rubber dagger. Was when we got pissed off was when it was fucking 2-9 lads and fucking 148 lads fucking calling us rubber daggers. I mean, don't get me wrong, they did an all arms course as well, but that's where I'm happy for regular lads to fucking give me some stick. But it was like, sometimes it was like, you know what, just wind your neck in. And again, it was people who had never worked with us before. And I say us, you know, we were still part of the core, we're still bootnecks. And when the rounds are going down, you don't care what cat badge or whether he's a reservist or not. It's, you know, are they doing what they're supposed to be doing? Are they making right decisions? Are they being a good bloke and part of a team? And, you know, as you know, when the rounds are going down, it makes no difference who they are and what background they've come from.
Yes, very true. It just makes a difference if you keep your freaking head down.
Yeah. So Herrick 5 was great. We were dropping, I think we danger close. We dropped a 500-pound bomb, danger close, and this is my first. I've been training 4 years to drop live ordnance, and now we're dropping like big bombs, you know, close to position, our own position, and it was just like. So I came away from Herrick 5 absolutely loving it. The issue for me was when I came back, was the TACP got disbanded for obvious reasons, because everyone went fire support team and, you know, a bit larger teams. And they wanted me to train nods for 2 years. And I was like, you know what, I just don't want to do that right now. And they sort of forced it upon me. And I was like, and no disrespect to the hierarchy, but I just think I felt I wasn't managed right when I got back. And I chased a lady to Belfast, and the rest is history.
Okay, sorry, Marty. I didn't want you to cut your story short at all.
Oh, sorry.
I just want to focus on that for a second, because a 500-pound bomb,
yeah,
that you guys have called in,
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say here is, you do this stuff in training, and it's all a rehearsal, and you try to get as good as you can. You obviously don't drop 500-pound bombs up on Woodbury Common in Exeter. Yeah, not to my knowledge, and I think where I live, I'm quite close. I would have heard them, right? You're now in a theatre of war, and this is real.
Yeah,
this is real. There's going to be an A-10 tank buster or something coming in. It's just going to be dropping that thing, and you are going to be like, right, wait for it.
Yeah.
There's the visual in front of you.
Yeah.
There's people underneath that bomb. That's the, you know, as cruel as it sounds, that's the preferred scenario, that as many of your enemy are now flying through the air vaporized.
Yep.
Isn't it funny how you can drop something in a conversation and like just carry on, and yet if you actually stop and pick that bit out, it's extreme, isn't it?
Yeah, it's extreme. I wouldn't say what helps to sort of, from a fire support team point of view, is like that particular bomb was dropped at night, so we had thermal imagery. So for us, when we were looking through the thermal imagery, we saw three blokes on their bellies crawling towards us to kill us. So that black and white, they were on their bellies crawling towards us. And sometimes the Americans, and this was a B-1B bomber above us, and we had a laptop, and it had a camera on the belly of the B-1B, so we knew exactly what it was looking at as well. And sometimes it's easier. The Yanks like to sort of drop. I'm not being controversial here. This is what happened. Sometimes they'd like to just drop a 500-pound bomb. You know, for 3 people, that's ridiculous. So they can get back home quicker, in a sense, or back to base quicker. So this is what we were dealing with, and you know, and we weren't fixing bayonets. We weren't charging trenches. There were three bodies in the thermal imagery, and then the splash came. The bomb went off. It's so close, it literally rattled your rib cage, and our rib cage did worse for them. And then next minute, they're gone. So you were allowed to sort of detach yourself in that aspect. You didn't see that. You didn't look them in the eyes when it happened. They were just heat signatures on a thermal imagery, and so
effectively, you know, like a video game.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But with some obviously very different consequences.
Yeah, I mean, we had respect. We had respect for. I mean, in the sense that we had respect in how they were tenacious in their fighting. They were tenacious, and you never go into a operation not knowing who you're facing anyway. And we knew the history, and you know, some lads did more research than others, but we had a mutual respect, I felt. But for us, it was, like I said before, just heat signatures. It wasn't, you know, as some of the lads had experienced, you know, hand-to-hand combat, you know, very rare, you know, staring them in the eyes through an optics, you know, sniper rifle. This was a little bit, you could sort of detach yourself a little bit from it.
My gosh. So how are your thoughts now on war as a, you know, I had a very fascinating gentleman on the podcast, Naz Hussain, QC, I must add, lovely guy, and he sent me this meme. I think they're called memes, and it's a Muhammad Ali quote.
Yeah,
and it says, if a man thinks the same at 50, i.e. me, as he did when he was 20, he's wasted his life.
Yeah.
So obviously I was 18 when I joined. I saw the world in like this way, and you know, now I'm an old bastard, and I like to think I understand it's very different from what I thought. You know, it's really different to what it was when you joined.
Yeah, 100%. I think when my granddad served, both granddads served in Second World War. My granddad Stalker served with Paddy Mayne and Sterling in the SAS. He wasn't one of the originals. He joined just after the originals, and I always remember he always felt like he would be the last Stalker to fight in the war. And I always remember I just got back from Herrick 5. He was dying in the hospital, and everyone believes he stayed alive until I got back, 100%. And I walked into the into his ward, and he was lying there, and just seeing me walk in, and he was on the way out, like. And I can tell you now, he always had a strong grip. You know, this is a dying man, but he put his arm out and his hand out, and I held his hand, and he just squeezed it, and he was dying, like he was you know, days from dying. And I remember just squeezing my hand, and he was like, "Welcome back." And but now I understand that I truly believe I will be the last Stalker to wear a uniform, because my brain shifted now, my thoughts shifted, and I came back from Iraq. You don't ask questions. I was there purely for the lads, to keep them alive. Came back from Iraq, went straight into training again for Herrick 5. Herrick 5 happened, and you come back, and then it takes a few years, and then sometimes it takes a meeting with somebody, or you interview somebody, or you're having a chat with somebody, and then you start asking your questions, and the next minute you start asking these questions yourself. And I'm now in some sort of, over this last 6 months, I'm on some sort of journey myself, where I'm now seeing the world in ultra high HD. You know, I can see things which I haven't seen before, and my like I said before, my mind's totally shifted now. I'm not saying I'm an anarchist or I'm a Republican now. I'm just saying that there's a lot out there which I wasn't aware of, but now the blinkers are off, and now I'm seeing things for what they truly are, I believe anyway. And I will be the last Stalker to wear a military uniform.
So you feel that strongly, yeah?
100%.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's these little chestnuts, like I was there for the lads. That's every single service person in Afghanistan is saying this, right?
Yeah.
And it's a good, like, get out of jail free card, but of course it perpetuates war, doesn't it? If everyone goes, well, you know, I didn't agree with the conflict, but I was there for the lads, this is what these psychos that create these conflicts and profit from them.
100%, yeah. I
mean, you imagine how happy they are when a £500 bomb gets dropped, because the £3 million that bomb costs goes straight into their bank account.
Yeah.
And who pays it? The great British taxpayer.
Yeah.
You know, it's such a clever scam. It's a scam, you know. The other chestnut is, oh, well, the Taliban's evil. Yeah, well, you know, I mean, maybe some of them are, maybe they're but that ain't why that's not why you're going to war, is it? That's not why you're going to war, mate. You're going to war because you're a pawn in a game, and it's about, I don't know, what is it about? Initially you think it's money, then you think, well, hang on, these psychos are born with more money than you and I could spend if we had 100,000 lifetimes. This is how wealthy they are. So it can't be about the money. So then you think, it's about the power. It's about that, having that control over humanity and treating the whole globe like it's their private, sort of like the war thing where they push the things around a board in the war office, you know?
Yep.
And then coming back to what I was originally saying, this is why I've developed more of an interest in the occult in recent years, which I personally, it's very there's many different implications of that, let's say.
Yep.
But when you see there's a lot of sort of video documentary information, let's say, out there now that suggests that a lot of these guys are just Satanists or occultists, or you know, they love to see the blood of young men spread across the you know, the battlefields, young women. It's all part of their ritualist, you know, this ritualistic behavior.
Yeah.
And gosh, like you say, rabbit hole is the word, isn't it?
Yeah, well, in that 6 years of making the Netflix doc, like Father Martin was his biggest fear was generational Satanism. So in America, there was, I think, Satanism in the 70s anyway. Satanism had risen by about 700% on record. That what people knew about. And his biggest fear was generational Satanism. So there was families who, just like people believe in God, or you know, Hindus, whatever, they are born into this. Children are born into this family who worship Satan, and it's normal, 100% normal for them, and they just are bad people. You know, it's not that black and white, but I mean, Luciferians are all linked to the occult, and the global elite are all Luciferians. And you know, I don't want to name too many names because the podcast will probably get shut down. But all I'm saying is, once you start going down those rabbit holes, it's a bit like the Matrix, where you want to take the red pill or the blue pill. And if you watch the Matrix again, it's quite interesting, because the red pill, you take the red pill, you're going to go, I'm going to show you what is real, you know, or take the blue pill and just carry on like sheep and just carry on like the world as you know it. And I took the red pill about 6 years ago, but only sort of over the last 6 months have I really started to think more and to have that shift. And it's because I've put a few things in my life into place. One of them, first thing was what I did 3 years ago was come off social media. 100% unplugged from social media. It was a cesspit of negativity. I'd wake up in the morning on Twitter, I'd go for a dump, and Brandon in Ohio, who lives in his mum's basement, I just presume he did, would tweet to me directly and say, I think your film shit on Netflix. You know, it didn't get to me, but I'm thinking, you know, it's just, I don't want to hear this shit really when I'm starting work. It wasn't just that time, it was hundreds of times of heavily, the film's heavily criticized because it looks at the existence of God, etc. So I just cracked on, and as soon as I unplugged, I was in Washington DC at the time on a job, on a commercial job, and about 7 in the morning in DC, I unplugged Instagram, which is people's filtered lives, fake. I unplugged from Facebook, because again, it's all fake existence. I unplugged from Twitter, which is just a cesspool of negativity. And as soon as I unplugged, I went for a jog. And it was like being in a science fiction film, or even a horror film, where I was jogging around and I was looking around on the streets and everybody was glued to the phones. I looked through a Starbucks window, everyone's doing the scrolling up. And I actually saw some people walking whilst looking at the phones. And I've done it before as well, you know, when I've been trying to nav around the place. And it felt like I'd just woken up from a science fiction film out of a coma. And the first 2 weeks was like cold turkey. And I was like, oh, should I go back on Facebook? The family might think I'm, you know, I'm you know, going to kill myself. And I got a phone call from a friend of mine who said the same thing. He said, Mark, you're off Facebook? I was like, yeah, I'm done, mate. I'm done with it all. The fakeness, the negativity. And he was, I was just ringing you because I just thought you were in a bad place. You know, I was like, why would I be in a bad place for coming off social media? You know, people just think, you know, oh, Marty's gone off his fucking rocket because he's off social media. It's actually the opposite. It was doing more harm to me than good. But also it was generating emotions like I was getting jealous. I was getting jealous of blokes who were directing TV dramas, who were the same sort of level and same sort of up the ladder as me. And I'm asking myself, why was so-and-so doing this and I'm not? And that's not like me at all. Why am I comparing myself to other people? So I would see these fake profiles and fake filtered photographs, and I was doing the same. And I was like, my wife turned around to me the other day and she said, I'm so glad you came off social media. And I was like, why? She's like, because you making it out that your filmmaking life was you're happy and you were getting paid a lot of money, and in fact there were some weeks you didn't have enough money to buy a pint of milk.
I'm not being rude, Mark. I just want to show you something I put on my Instagram.
All right, mate. I won't judge.
Well, no, I mean, I utterly agree with you 7 million%, if that's a percentage.
I'm waiting for the but.
No, you won't get one, mate.
Good.
Marty, you won't get one. Do you know why? Because I took the red pill or became enlightened. Well, my first experience of enlightenment was coming off the moment I began to work my way out of addiction.
Yeah.
Addiction, again, a metaphor for addiction is the devil has got you. It's just another angle of so many angles of the way people frame the devil. I'll come on to that, but from now on, you're just going to get on my Instagram the truth about me.
Good.
That's a photo of me looking like an absolute dick when I was...
What a unit, man. You're a unit.
Yeah, but I was a very sad unit, mate, wasn't I? You know,
yeah.
Because if I can blow my own trumpet, which I can only blow because of what other people kindly said to me, I was an okay-looking young man, mate. You know, I was. I had obviously a lot of issues to come because of what the damage that had been done inside to me. But I was okay. I wasn't a massively nasty person, although I'd go on to do really stupid things like breaking the law and. But here's the thing, like, I didn't need to pump steroids in my body to feel good about myself. I didn't need to go around, you know, pulling my sleeves up like this just so, you know, just to make sure that everybody saw it. And that's what you get with me now. If you're on my social media, you're going to get the truth.
Warts and all, mate. That's good.
And if it upsets you, then it's like what's the expression? I don't look at the weight someone's lifting in their gym. I'll lift the ones in my own, you know?
Yeah.
Quite ironic because we're talking about, no, I don't bodybuild anymore. But I think people get the point I'm trying to say. I so much agree with you. And isn't it funny? Have you had this thing where you used to really look up to certain people in the past and you used to think that they had, you know, they were big, hard men that had life stuff, and then you see the shit they post on Facebook and it's fucking embarrassing.
I understand. I understand why some people are on Facebook or social media. You know, my business, I think I lost about 60% of work as a result of purely coming off social media. Most of my work is digital content, so by not having a digital presence, my business suffered. But for me, the long-term benefits outweigh the short-term. So, I mean, that was the first thing I did 3 years ago, was I came off social media, and it was so refreshing because now, from then on, I've just been thinking about myself. I think that sounds quite arrogant and egotastic, but I just concentrated on my own trajectory and my own journey into the career. I didn't know what was going on because it wasn't on social media, so I was just stayed focused with my own journey with my filmmaking career, and social media wasn't sort of engulfing my spirit and my energy, and by the end of this conversation, if I would have heard myself talk like this 10 years ago, I would have thought I would have called the police on myself. You know, Marty's lost the plot. But the second thing that I did was come off booze, and I wasn't an addict. I was smashing the booze down me, but it was weird because back then I used to think it was medicinal. Oh yeah, I'll have, you know, Thursday, Friday night, whatever, I'll have a glass of wine. It's medicinal. You know, I've been told it's medicinal, and I'll unwind with a glass of wine. And then the next minute, Saturday morning, I've smashed 2.5 bottles of wine. You know, that doesn't become medicinal. And I've got kids, and I'm grumpy, and I'm hungover. And I only just came off booze January 12th or whatever, after Christmas. And even within 2 weeks, I felt the benefits, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to crack on with this and keep going. And I can tell you now, what booze did to me, and everyone's got a unique journey and a unique way of responding to stuff in their life. But for me, I didn't feel suppressed anymore. My moral compass, I always felt my moral compass always shifted with booze. I'm not saying I was drinking booze, getting drunk, and then perving off women. It just felt, I felt less, my moral compass was back on where it should be. And also I just felt less suppressed. This sounds weird, but I just felt like the booze was just keeping me suppressed, with my thoughts, with my visions, and with my targets, my life targets, etc. And now I'm just, and then a friend of mine would say your spiritual vibration's through the roof, and it is. And I would say it's gone even further now since I've done the third stage, and hopefully it's the final, but I'm not sure yet. But the third stage I put in place, the third thing I put in place is I've been doing Commando cleanses, and it's not many people know about this, but it's an Amazon ritual where they put the poison of monkey frog in your bloodstream. And I won't do this justice now, but you can research this online, and I'll send you some good links. But what it does, the poison cleans the organs out, the kidneys, the liver, everything, and it centralizes all the toxins that are not natural, like metals from vaccines, recreational drugs, pharmaceuticals, which are pumped full of petroleum and you name it's in them horrible pharmaceuticals. And what it does is it centralizes all the toxins, and it's like you've eaten a bad bowl of oysters. And next minute, and this is all, it's all professionally done. It's not like, back of someone's shed. This is done properly, and you vomit it all out into a bucket. And the reason why I did Commando, sorry to come back on myself, is I'm doing a documentary about plant-based medicines and non-medicinal approaches to treating people with trauma. And I said, I can't do a documentary without at least trying one of these methods. And I tried Commando, and I'll tell you now, mate, the first bucket was dark brown, and I'll send you the images. If you want to put them on the video, you can. They're pretty minging, but Tom, the practitioner, would always tell me, I can always tell about somebody's life by the color of the bucket. And the darker the bucket is, I usually sort of can sense what type of trauma or fear you've had in your life. And I remember having the first bucket, and he sort of stepped back, and it was like, holy shit, it's like mahogany, dark brown looking. And in that bucket was fear, was trauma from a spiritual point of view. And from a physical point of view, there was toxins like metals and recreational drugs, you name it. It was all out of my body and into that bucket. And what he sort of teaches is you need to keep going. You need to maybe do three Commando cleanses a month to start slowly running clear. So I did my second Commando a few weeks ago before this scamdemic broke. And literally my second bucket was dark yellow, more traditional looking vomit. I'm going to go back next week to do my third Commando, which hopefully I'll start running clear. And literally in a nutshell, what it's doing is just cleaning out your organs of all this shite, all this man-made shite, this synthetic shite, which the human body can't get rid of. So it's absolutely incredible. So I was skeptical going in, and I can tell you now, man, I've had a chronic heartburn since I was 16, chronic heartburn, fucking horrendous. That's gone already. I've had bloating problems for, I'd say, 15 years. Like, I would eat something and then bloat. It was just fucking horrible. That's completely gone, 100% gone. My lower back pain from dodgy parachute jumps, gone. My knee pain has gone. And it's all about the peptides. I mean, I won't do it justice. I don't want to go too much into it because Commando experts be like, oh, Marty, you just totally fucking, you've seen us off there. But it's incredible. And all it does, it gives you a reset. It gives you a physical and also mental, because physical is connected to the mind. Everything's connected. You are a whole, everything's connected to the body. And it's given me a massive reset. And now I am just, I'm my wife thought I was wired before, but now I'm like,
yeah, no, you're in the flow. You're in the flow state, mate, and that's why we met, isn't it? Really,
Yeah, 100%, mate, 100%.
Everything. They say there's no such thing as coincidence, don't they? And what's that? The technical term for it is synchronicity, isn't it?
Yes.
That when you enter
massive
highest state of being. It's funny. I'm writing my book now about running the length for the UK, and I know how alien it's going to sound to people that it was so freaking hard to get vegetables. All I wanted was just a plate of vegetables and
takeaways.
And I mean this no disrespect, but very kindly they were bringing me big steaks and Lucozade, and it's just now if you understand, you can get into such a much better place in life by putting all that crap aside and getting spiritually free, get your freedom, that your God-given freedom, you know.
You imagine my mum's reaction to telling me I was doing Commando. You know, you're putting poison in your body, son. I'm like, look, I mean, she's been on this earth longer than me, so she's the most suppressed out of all of us. You know, she's lived this life and been in this world, you know, for longer than 70 odd years. But so she's the most sort of has the most cognitive dissonance. But it's I'm like, you know what, Mum, it's worked for me. And this is what I'm trying to do with the documentary, is show people that, one, people are unique in how they respond to treatment, therapy, whatever you want to call it, medicinal stuff. And two, there are options out there except big pharma. You know, pharmaceuticals, you know, should be the last, actually shouldn't be on your list at all, to be honest. You know, it's easy for a GP. No, I'm not disrespecting GPs here. They've got 10, 15 minutes with the subject each, you know, they've got 15 minutes with this person, you know, of course they're going to sign a prescription for pharmaceuticals and synthetics, obviously. But the documentary is going to teach you how, and there are lots on YouTube, but this one's looking at, there are alternative, you know.
The whole you know, the big pharma, what do they call it? Big pharma, don't they, you know? Yeah, of the medicine that's prescribed to people, I'd say probably like 98% of it's redundant. It's a scam.
Yep.
I say that because I'm always talking about I hate to use the word alkaline diet because it sounds like a fucking diet, and it's not. It's just a way of living. But once you understand your body's physiology and you stop feeding it with bloody Western crap, you know, or if you eat Western crap, at least eat 2/3 of your plate vegetables, then you can eat the crap. Your body stays alkaline. You don't get all those sicknesses, you know. Injuries that you've had that you thought you were lumbered with for life, they just go, you know.
I think recently, I think there's an American study where the Americans now from being born to adult, I think have 52 vaccines. It's just ridiculous. That's just crazy. No, the shite that they put in these vaccines.
It's not just crazy, but, you know, let's say hypothetically, what if it was incredibly dangerous? I say hypothetically because on this platform, you've got to be careful what you say. There's no point making videos if they're going to get, if then, you know, no one's ever going to get to see them. But it's just, the people that are championing the vaccines, it's like, you wait till you see someone you fucking love who's damaged by them. You do that, and then, you know, then you go around saying that it's all about the herd and the this and the it's two people I know damage for life, and based on science that, let's just say, like all sciences, it's questionable, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, I've stopped trying to, especially over the last few months, I've stopped trying to wake up family members and friends, because all I can do is I can do so much. But now I'm just, they'll label me as a conspiracy theorist, and you know, which is quite interesting because the CIA invented that name after the JFK got assassinated. So it's
tell us more about that, because I should just point out, people can't call you a conspiracy theorist, because what they should be asking first is, how come two guys that have I never met you before, Marty, before I hit that record button, you know, 20 minutes ago, whatever, we've never met, yet our thinking is identical. So we've either both gone completely crazy, magically we've, you know, and learned
100 monkeys
and learned all the same things, which the statistics of that happening is like 500 billion to 1. It's impossible. Or maybe it's that we've learned to view, like, you know, we've been given the gift of viewing life as it actually is, and not the way we were indoctrinated to think it
Do you know the 100 monkeys experiment? What experiment? The 100 monkeys theory.
Enlighten me again.
So it was, I think, off the coast of Japan. I'm not going to do this justice neither, but bear with me. You can research this yourself. But there was scientists who were researching a certain species of monkey on certain islands outside Japan. They're quite a lot of. I mean, miles apart. And a group of scientists one day, and the normal day to day was the monkeys would stay in the trees. They would come down now and again, but mainly they were in the trees, just eating fruit or whatever it was. And one day, the fruit that was on the floor, on the sand or whatever it was, one of the monkeys came down, picked up the piece of fruit and washed it in the sea, and then started to eat it. And the next minute, looked over his shoulder. The next minute, all his oppos came down, all his mates came down, and then did the same. Washed the fruit. Oh, it tastes better with it cleaned in the water. But what was happening then was that was just one island, one isolated island. The same thing happened on multiple islands in the same area, miles and miles apart. It's called a tipping point where, well, I believe in it. It's people start having the same thought processes, and it's a wave of energy. And I don't want to get too much in detail, but it's called 100 Monkeys. Please look it up. It's an incredible reported research article.
So instead of us having all this knowledge and empowerment and understanding how the universe works, these psychos have hidden it all from us and, opted to worship Satan. It's just, it's bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah. I've started two podcasts. So one podcast is in parallel to the documentary that I'm making, and it's called An Awakening. And all I'm doing is I'm producing this one. All I'm doing is I've got Tom, who's my Commando practitioner and a friend of mine. He just interviews people. He interviews holistic doctors. I think we've got one woman who is an activist against pig farming in Northern Ireland, and it's really horrible stuff that's happening in front of your eyes. You just don't know. And we've got a mixture of people on the podcast. But my second podcast is more in line with my Netflix documentary, and we're looking at Luciferians, we're looking at satanic ritual abuse, we're looking at MK Ultra, which is the CIA program to weaponize humans. I've got I interviewed a guy last week who went to Vietnam when he was 12. He was part of the MK Ultra group. Okay, people who listen to me now will go, fucking hell, Marty's fucking finally lost the plot, but I'm happy to give these people the opportunity to talk and tell their story, and they've been vetted and etc. But all this, it's funny because in Northern Ireland, there's fuck all of us who believe this shit. I don't mean shit as a negative thing, but believe these theories, and we're a very small group. And I text a friend of mine who said, look, I'm getting threaders. People think I'm batshit crazy. People just think Marty's lost the plot because of his COVID scamdemic. And I'm literally just texted him and said, look, I don't know what to do. Sometimes I wake up and think, am I going mad because of all these crazy theories, and history is not what I thought. And he said, look, you're at the still point right now. You're at the still point in the sense that you can see. So, but when the tornado comes, remember that you're at the still point. They are not. And they're going to be wanting answers, and they're going to be upset about the reality of this world. And it was a nice point to sort of calm me down. And now I've gone from trying to wake people up, to being ready for when that moment happens, having the research in place. I've actually got a pack somewhere in the office where I've put together in case the internet gets shut down. And, again, if I would have heard myself 10 years ago, I would have just thought, well, everything,
look how easy it was to close society down, mate. It's not far-fetched to think the internet,
Well, you're either a sheep or a wolf, aren't you? So
they won't shut the internet down, mate. The people will shut it. They will ask for it to be, for all the. But no, I mate, just I'm probably quite lucky because I don't give a fuck what anyone else. Well, I mean, what people think, that's their business. It's not mine, and yeah. I don't want people to think like me, Marty, because I've lived
when I was properly red pilled, in the sense that all the information's there, all the facts are there. I couldn't sleep for 3 days. I just couldn't sleep. It was just like the horror of the reality of the world that we're living in, and you know, I purely could not sleep for 3 days.
Gosh, I could talk for 1,000 hours, and then I could talk for 1,000 more and 1,000 after that, mate. You know, but what am I saying? Yeah, no. I would, if I were you, I'd just leave that worrying about what because I'll tell you, you know, it's really simple. No one's seen as much as the world as I have.
Yeah.
And unless you know, if you know someone, put them in touch with me, because I'd be fascinated. I mean, not just have I traveled all 7 continents, every country I ever wanted to go, I just went there. So 80 countries I've lived, worked and traveled in now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm always sorry if I bore people saying this, but you know, I'm a pilot, skydiver, Royal Marines Commando, best-selling author, proud family man. I've, you know, driven bus to India and back. I've worked with street kids in post-war Mozambique. I've fought in a conflict. I've seen people die, you know, I've seen people die in conflict. I've had my best friend die at my feet. I've taken every sort of substance known to man. I've been to I've been to the edge of mental health through chronic addiction, and then I've been over it. So I know what it's like to be mad. Not many people know that. I've seen evil. I've stared at it, and I know it exists. I saw it in Hong Kong, working for the Hong Kong, you know, working for the
I smelt it in Afghanistan. I could smell it.
You saw it in Afghanistan. I saw it, mate, when I was, you know, addicted to opiate medication. That brought me closer to the devil in a very visceral. And I don't fucking believe in devil and but from a metaphorical perspective, I understand how people do. Don't get me wrong, but I just see it as a metaphor. There's forces in this life. Man's given them names, and some idiots actually like really buy into that shit. And
yeah.
So I'd leave that behind, mate. As of today,
yeah,
you know, everything you're saying is what I've found, and I've been doing this thing for 27. I've been alone for 27 years, mate.
Yeah.
You know,
so much patience. I think also with evil as well. I think with evil anyway, it has no uniform. It has no fronts. It has no, you know, areas of operations. It literally can seep into even your own men, even your own mates, family members. It's about making right choices or wrong choices, and and in war it's just amplified in war, because you want to come back and think, you know what, I did make the right choice there, or you know what, I made the wrong choice there. And you sort of, it's where a lot of lads come back and they're like, fuck, what, you know, maybe I made the wrong choice there. Or as long as you come to, I don't know, I'm not a therapist, but
it's always, sometimes it can feel nice to talk to someone and offload stuff that we can't to other people. But what I'm learning is what that actually does is reinstate the trauma.
Yeah.
You know, whereas what you need to do is get in there and deal with it at source, which I think for any military man makes far more sense, isn't it? You don't go out and patrol and wander around the edges. You go straight in and get your target, and you get out quick, and then you go on with your life. But
I was that military man with my own problems, you know. It was, so I had a problem 2 years after. I came back from Herrick 5. I had a great time. It sounds quite strange from somebody listening to me saying that, but Herrick 5 gave me everything that I wanted and I put into it. So it was only 2 years later I was having problems, and my trigger to get help was hugging my daughter at the time, who was only about 3 or 4, and I just felt just felt nothing. You know, previously I'd felt, you know, warmth and just pure love from a child, and absolutely nothing. And it was more of a sort of selfish minded thing where, you know what, my parents had gone through, you know, two back-to-back tours. My wife, my girlfriend at the time, had been through it as well. You know, I need to get help because it's selfish of me not to get help. And that sounds quite cutthroat and black and white, but it was, you know, they don't want, you know, I always say you don't come back the same person. You know, it's like a snake shedding the skin. You know, for me, I would say when I came back from Iraq, I was Marty Mark II. I came back from Afghanistan, I was Marty Mark III. And then now I'm at Marty Mark IV. And it's like I said, snake shedding its skin. You just don't come back the same person, and you're slightly altered, sometimes the best, sometimes the worst. And it literally, yeah, I just knew I needed to get help at that time. Again, my unique response to therapy was EMDR worked for me. I know it doesn't work for many people, but on some people, but EMDR worked for me. And what the therapist, to cut a long story short, got out of me was I felt guilty for not saving an Afghan policeman quick enough. She gave me a range of options, therapy treatments, and we'll do this. What about this one? What about this one? Some of my results from a questionnaire proved that I had depression and I had PTSD. And she gave me 3 options, and she said, oh, EMDR, well, this one used to be controversial in the 80s. And I was like, I'll do that one. You know, if I'm going to do this process, I want to do something, you know, crazy. I want to do something, you know, that's, you know, it's a little bit, you know, crazy in a sense. And so in the old days, we used to sort of follow the finger, the eye movement. So eye movement, desensitization and reprocessing. So it's a bit of a mouthful. And again, I'm not going to do this justice, so I'll skim down on the details. But it's all been digitized now. So you put the headphones on, and you have 2 vibration pads in your hands. And what happens is you put the headphones on, you lie in the chair, and it sends a tone in the earpiece, and the opposite directions, opposite sides, the vibrations go in your hand. And what you close your eyes, and what the therapist did for me was bring me back to that moment of that the event that I can't sort of get around. And it was a situation on a hill in Afghanistan where a policeman got shot through the head by a sniper. He dropped, and I eventually got to him, put his head back together. He had a small entry wound, and then blew the back of his head out. So I was trying to put everything back in the back of his head, put the bandage around his head, and then he was a bit of a unit as well. He was about 6'1", I think. He was a bit of a unit. So I had to get 2, 4, 5 lads to help me out, carry him off the hill, and literally, yeah, a few other things happened on the hill, altercations, and got him away. But 2 years after Herrick 5, I started seeing this policeman's face. And while I was on top of him doing the first aid, he was looking straight at me. And 2 years after, I started seeing his face. Even when my eyes were open during the day, you know, it wasn't at night, it wasn't in flashbacks or dreams. I was seeing his face in my mind, and it was a strange one. And also I started to deteriorate as a human being and a civilian as well, where I always avoid going to large crowds, or I would always sit with my back against the wall in cafes. I didn't know I was doing it. It was just subconscious stuff, and just, you know, that kind of thing. My wife could see this, but I couldn't. And I was just slowly shutting myself down from society. I'd be on a train and I'd hear a conversation next to me of girls talking about trivial stuff, and I'll be like enraged. And you soon realize that society owes you shit when you get home anyway, and society owes you nothing. It's a bit like, oh, you were in Afghanistan? Oh, I love it, yeah, thanks. I'll carry on. It's once you realize that you've society owes you nothing, and it sounds quite black and white and cutthroat, but it's the truth. It's, you know, for me, it was the truth anyway. And then you sort of just, you know, I'd started becoming recluse. So I got the help. I went into the office, tried the EMDR, put my headphones on, closed my eyes, and she said to me, I'll know within the first 15 minutes if this is going to work for you or not. And I was like, fair one, yeah, no worries, we're going to something else if it doesn't work. And she said, as soon as I find out what the problem is, it's like a switch going off in your head. It's like, it's that, like that. And I was like, oh, bullshit. That's just sounds sensational. So I'm in, it's like the Matrix, I'm plugging in, and for the first 15 minutes, I'm like, whoa, something's weird here. No, I don't like it. It's not going to work. And she went, look, give me 10 more minutes. I'm back in, headphones are on, eyes are closed. And she talks to me and she brings me back to that moment with the policeman. And, you know, didn't think nothing of it. And I'm seeing it all with the tones and the vibration. I'm seeing this in detail. I'm seeing things that I forgot about as well. And moving on down the therapy session. So this was always, she would never close off with the trauma. She'd always finish off the session with, Marty, take me to your happy place. So it sounds quite cheesy, but no, take me to a place where you feel warm and peace. And so it was always a lighthouse near my parents' home in the Lake District. And I would always run up there with the dogs and look out at the lakes. So she always bring me back there. And I was always alone on the hill and I was looking out. And then she'd always make sure I always went to a peaceful place. And then she unplugged me and then I went on my ways. So as the months went on, I was starting to get there and find out the core reason for why I was having these problems. And next minute, one session, she said, you know what, I'm going to scrap the EMDR today. I'm going to do a little bit of role play. And as soon as I heard fucking role play, I was like, oh shit, I'm going to be dancing around like a ballerina or something. And she said, no. What I want you to do is, I want you to, on the floor, I'll clear the living room area out. And I want you to go through in your head, when the round went into the guy's head, to you getting to him and getting him off the hill. All I want you to do for stage one is go through in real time from contact to first aid. And she asked me, how long do you reckon you were? And I was like, 12, 15 minutes from contact to getting them squared away. And she was like, okay, no worries. So I did it 6 times. And she averaged the time out. And I was 1 minute, 33 seconds from contact to putting the bandage on his head. And she said to me was, you were quick enough. You were professional. You did the best for him. And the next minute, my mind just, there was a chink in the mind, a little chink, which was guilt. The next minute, that chink went away, and the mind cycle could continue again. And next minute, it's switch like that. And that was me. That's my unique journey. That's unique. That's to me. I spoke to an SES guy straight after. He said EMDR sent him batshit crazy, which is it just didn't work for him. So I'm not saying EMDR will work for everybody, but for me, I EMDR with role play worked for me. That's how I got to get across the finish line. So it was an amazing experience. It was just, I was just like, Jesus, I would never have found that myself. I would never have found that guilt. That
sounds, Marty, that the last bit about, she's taking you through it and she's challenged your core belief that I wasn't quick enough, and she's shown you that's cognitive behavioral therapy. Really.
Yeah, it's a mixture of stuff. Yeah.
Like when when I used to do talking therapy as part of being a drug worker, one of the biggest things people would say, I don't like going out of the house. There's people on the street corner, and I know they all hate me, and when you broke it down and you talk, well, do you know any of them? Well, no.
Yep.
Do they know you? No. Do people walk down the street all day long yeah. And when you needled it out, this fear that they have, which we used to rate, say 1 to 100 or 1 to 10, which was a 10, it's the worst thing in my, we actually analyzed it. It's like, actually, no, it's more like a 1 or a 2. So that last bit you said sounds very much like reframing how you memorized the situation. Did the noises going off, do you think that helped as well?
Yeah, it was quite jarring at first, because it's alien to you at first, because it's quite obtrusive. The tones are quite obtrusive, but by session sort of 3 and 4, it was like slipping into the matrix. The tones just blended into the event, in a sense. It was crazy. I can't really explain it, but it just, at first it was jarring, but then after 3 or 4 sessions, it was just like straight into it. It was incredible.
And am I right in thinking it changed, it moves the traumatic memory from a certain part of your brain, so the frontal cortex into the into somewhere else? Is it something I'm not too hot and hot?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, I've tried to. I just don't want to. I don't want to agree to anything, and then it's totally wrong when I do my own research. But no, yeah, it's something like that in a nutshell. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting. It's a whole fascinating subject. I mean,
I think getting in that room in the first place for me was the big turning point. Actually physically getting myself into that room and talking to a stranger about shit. It was like, I thought, you should deal with stuff like that by yourself, and it's totally the wrong.
Well, and another issue that we should flag though is that, be aware you can end up in a room with someone that's just not very good, or they don't really know what they're, they don't understand, and the pitfall there, Marty, and I'm sure you would agree, is you end up going away feeling even more bad about yourself that you can't be fixed, when it's like, no, I mean, I'm reading a fascinating book at the minute. In fact, I've just finished it last night. It's called Attack Panic. And I'm reading it because I very much want the author to come on my podcast, because I know so many people suffering from trauma, which is no longer called in the higher thinking echelon of the professional circles. It's not called PTSD anymore, because the D stands for disorder, and it's not a disorder. It's a completely natural reaction to being put under, sustained stress. Yeah. Your body produces these chemicals. They make you experience the fight or the flight. It's all perfectly normal, and calling it a disorder, it kind of misdirects where the treatment needs to be. Yeah. Understanding it as from a psycho-social and biological perspective then allows you to address it sort of accordingly, Yeah. Yes.
If it wasn't for, I would say now, if it wasn't for my daughter, I don't know where I'd be right now. And that sounds quite ruthless, but my daughter was the trigger. It was the big push for me was wow. I knew I adored this little girl, but felt absolute nothing for her. And it was like, whoa, that's even then I was like, right, let's get myself squared away here and get sorted out. It's it's macho, it's bravado, you feel like you're letting the side down, but in fact, look after yourself. You need to look after yourself even now. Just concentrate on yourself in the sense of your own. Your own health.
This is what this is part of the military conditioning, isn't it? Is the overwhelming theme that runs through all of my military guests and my military connections, and I probably know over 1,000 military people as we sit here, is just the fear of what other people think, what their mates are going to think. And it's so powerful, Marty. Oh my God. And the way military people talk, they always, they have to preface what they say with, well, the lads are going to think this, but and it's like, whoa. First of all, we don't know what the fucking lads are going to think, because we ain't the lads, we're us. Yeah. Secondly, you might just find they actually think exactly the same as you. Thirdly, they've probably been through, the experiences you have, and they will very well understand. It's what I'm trying to say here is anyone who wants to who's not content in life but wants to be, you need to get over you need to realize if people's identity lies in something they did when they were 18 years old, then it's the Muhammad Ali again, isn't it? If you're 50 and you think like you did when you were 18, Muhammad Ali says you wasted your life. I will say is you've just held off becoming an enlightened individual because you're so worried about what everyone else might think. But I can take it further and say, I get I wish I could tell people the messages. I mean, I can outline them without giving too much away, but I get messages like, you know, Chris, I never really felt I belonged in the forces, all this family stuff and brotherhood. I never experienced it, you know. I get messages like that. I get, Chris, I read your story and like, I just want to say I went off. And these are like sergeant majors, people that you thought were so pussers, so military. Oh, yeah. So, yes, sir, certainly, sir. And they're messaging me going, mate, your book made just so much sense. I went off the rails after I left the Corps. I was doing this, I was doing that. This is sergeant majors telling me that they were fighting to not go to prison. Yeah. The amount of, whether it's trauma or just the directionless you experience. So I'm just saying this so other people listening can get an angle on this and you know, you lift the weights in your gym, not someone else's, because all the time you worry about what other people think. It's like you've got your pot of marbles and they've got theirs, and you're trying to win the championship of the universe by putting your marbles in their jar. Yeah. It's never going to happen. Yeah. You keep your marbles in your jar, you'll be marble champion of the universe before you know it, you know. So massive thanks, mate, for you know, being so bloody honest, and it's what we need, you know. There is nothing. There are some heroic deeds done in the military. I met some really good bloody guys, but it's nothing macho about lying in, you know, crying for your mummy when you got a bullet through your stomach. It's quite a leveler, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it's for me it's like you just can't sometimes dwell on the past too much. But I think at the moment it's about, and I'm quite black and white with this, you either make right decisions in the moment or you make wrong decisions. And if you continue to make wrong decisions, it's going to take you on a you know, down a hole which you don't want to go down, really. If you continue to make good decisions, and you know, you're gonna get there. And it's and I've made some disastrous mistakes in my personal life, even my professional life, but you cannot dwell too much. You can't be dragged back there, and you've got to say, look, I fucked up there, let's just crack on now. I know I'm a different sort of version of myself now, but you just got to, again, just keep an eye on your own trajectory and don't worry about what other people think or what people, you know, are doing themselves. And you're right. I mean, I used to put all my stripies on a pedestal, and you know, you'd hear stories afterwards how, you know, how they had a little bit of a breakdown in this period of their life. And it's just, everyone's human and everyone's not, you know, it's you're right. Military, we're just not equipped. And it's, you know, it's not that easy, but we're just not equipped to deal with stuff like, why am I seeing this strained policeman's face? You know, why am I, why am I thinking that I'm going to be, an embarrassment to the Corps by going to a therapy session? You know, I just don't think we're not equipped enough to strike when the iron's hot and when the issues arise. So,
it's because all the healing stuff, all the good stuff, Marty, all the spiritual enlightenment in life, well, it just flows completely contrary to them wanting young men that are willing to go and kill people, isn't it? I mean, it's just completely contrary.
Yeah. I am blessed. I am blessed, you know, for being a Royal Marine Commando. I am blessed to go into Iraq. I am blessed for going to Afghanistan. I am blessed for having mental health problems, because all those experiences, even being a teacher, you know, being a filmmaker now, all those experiences, you know, have led to this moment right now, in this moment of time. And I've learned from my mistakes. I'm still making mistakes. I'm extremely flawed human being myself. And, you know, but I am who I am because of those experiences, negative and positive. So it sounds quite preachy, but this is where I am right now, and I'm in a good place. But I'm only in a good place because I have made mistakes, and also I've put physical things in place in my life, which have had a massive ripple effect for the good.
I try to just use the word experiences now, mate. You know, I mean, it's that bit of a cliche, but you know, you fail your way to success. Well, who's to say what's a failure? Because it's not a failure. It's an experience. You know.
Yeah.
I think probably like yourself, my only, like, if I had to regret something in life, which obviously you can't, because what is that doing? Regret is you've got your marble jar and you're handing out your marbles by, you know, you're throwing them into the past and wondering why you can't go forward. But
yeah.
the slight regret is going to be when you've hurt other people, isn't it? But all you can do is apologize. That's all you can do. That, you know, make amends in the best way. That's all you can do, and that's all you need to do. And then you move on. And that was yesterday, and you don't even think about it, you know. Or you just take the lesson from it, take that forward, and leave the negativity in the past. Yeah,
it's easier said than done, but once people start putting things in place practically, and like for me, like I said before, the booze for me, within 2 weeks, I was like, why haven't I done this, you know, years ago? All those years wasted, you know. And it's when you start, it's like a snowball effect of positivity. It's just, I'm not there yet. I'm you know, I'm still making mistakes, like I said before, but I'm in a better place than I was 4, 3, 5 years ago, whatever. So.
Yeah, no, you're an incredible example, mate, and you're enlightening to me, and that's kind of saying something.
Or usually dead behind the eyes or something.
Well, it's just.
Well, I want to say this. I would love to have more bootlegs and more veterans in the film industry. 100%. I'm waiting for that day. I'm waiting on the beach with my equipment ready for.
So let's talk
arrival of. No, it's.
Let's talk about this then, and thank you for telling us your mental health experience.
Yeah.
But again, you know, I feel I miss my vocation in life somewhat, because I'm really kind of getting into the editing videos and doing this sort of stuff. And hold my hand up, I'm an absolute kind of novice, but it's nice to start something and have an end result.
Yeah.
One thing I'll say is I'm so surprised at how labor and time intensive editing is. My God, you know, it's not like, I've got a couple of hours on an evening, I'll edit this film. No, it can be days, weeks, months, even years, right?
Yeah.
Now,
It gets quicker.
How did you go from the military to becoming a filmmaker?
So Herrick 5 came back, got a little bit threaded with what I was getting told my next move would be, which is training nods. Didn't want to do that. So chased a woman across to Belfast, thought, right, I'm going to start a filmmaking career now, and realised that, whoa, okay, I can't just jump into this with both feet. There is a process involved. And I started making wedding videos, bought a camera with a loan. And luckily for me, my father-in-law now was in the TV industry, and he had been a cameraman in the 80s shooting independent news, etc., etc. So I was lucky enough to have that person to, you know, give me a camera and teach me the basics, the fundamentals of operating a camera. And what happened was I started working with him, with Erwin, and he taught me got me out on the ground and started recording some news stuff and some documentary stuff. And I thought, you know, I can do this. But in the meantime, to raise a bit of money, I was knocking out wedding videos, and quite successful. You know, I was getting quite popular in the area, and I was making quite a lot of money, which went into investing in equipment. So I learned to edit. I learned to operate cameras. I just constantly went out and I started to make my own short films with a few sort of friends of mine who had the same mindset and the same sort of journey in their heads to become a filmmaker. And so we started cranking out these short films, and then slowly you just start to sort of get a presence in the area as a filmmaker, and It's a very slow process. I gave myself 10 years to make my first feature-length film. With my Netflix doc, that was my 9th year. So I was in 1 year within my own target, but it's a long process. You've got to get on their radars. I mean, the Film Commission won't give anybody money, you know, if they haven't made any short films before or digital content before. So it's a slow process to get into those circles and to be trustworthy. Because at the end of the day, you know, Hostage to the Devil on Netflix was the first film I ever made with somebody else's money. You know, I'd always made my short films with a bit of scraps of money here and there. And this was the first time I made a film with somebody else's money, and I promised to deliver a film by the end of the process. And it was nerve-wracking. But I made all my massive fuck-ups with my own money, in my own time, the big mistakes. And then when it came to this opportunity, then, you know, I still made little mistakes, but they weren't the big massive mistakes. So it was a slow process. You know, you try speaking to an 18-year-old film graduate who thinks he's the next Spielberg. He's going to take maybe 10 years to make his first film. He'd be like, fuck off, Marty, you know, I want to do it tomorrow. That's their thought process. But the reality is you have to wait. You have to get in line. You have to keep creating content off your own back. Show that you can, you know, I said to you before we recorded that I've got films on my channel from 12 years ago. You know, it just shows, as long as it shows progress in your skills as a filmmaker, then, you know, for me it's a portfolio of work of showing the transition from beginner to well, right now I'm right at the start of my career right now, and I'm 12 years in now. And so I'm right at the start of my film career. And it's long. It comes back to this: how much you really want something. You know, I look myself in the mirror many mornings, and you ask the question, "How much do you really want this?" Because I'm constantly being told, "You can't do this, Marty. It's like becoming a professional footballer." You know, I've been told that a few times in my life, and I've cracked on anyway. So it's about how much, you know. And for me, filmmaking is innate; it's in the blood. You know, I want this. I will achieve this by the end of it. But you have to be that tenacious, and you have to have that innate passion for it, because filmmaking is horrendous in a sense that you're putting all your blood, sweat and tears out on a channel or a cinema screen, and strangers are coming to watch this, and they will either like it or they won't like it. And it's you need thick skin, definitely. And you face rejections. I probably get one rejection every week from different people. I get even yesterday I got rejected for funding for my plant-based documentary. I'm trying to get an agent at the moment who I can't direct. I can't make big stuff like dramas and feature films without an agent. I'm trying to get an agent over the last 3 years. No, not happening at the moment. So, but it all comes down to how much you really want it. And for me, it's my ultimate dream, and I will achieve it by the end. You know, I know. I'm having a wife who's supportive is a massive sort of addition as well. So no, it's what I've realized the most is audiences don't give a shit about how long it's taking to make it. They don't give a shit about the problems with trying to raise the money to make it. They don't give a shit about the problems whilst making it. They just care about, am I wasting 90 minutes of my time watching this? Yes or no? My precious time here. Am I wasting my time watching this? Am I going to like this at the end of it? You know, and that's the nature of the beast. You've just got to, you know, you've got to really want this job to be in this industry. And for me, so started doing the weddings. I went out to Africa, South Sudan, covered North Sudan. I did a lot of documentary work with Erwin. And then I sort of like, you know what, I sort of branched off from the nest and started to do my own content, got my own equipment. And the Arab Spring kicked off in 2011. And there was a job going out there, and who's crazy enough to go out there and make a film during the Arab Spring? And I was like, I'll do it. And it was right at the moment where I was offered to do some training for maritime security, and that whole sort of bootneck transition from military to security work. And I was going to go, you know what, the weddings are great, but it's not really what I was hoping to do. And I was like, right, let's do some maritime security stuff. And then Egypt came up, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to try the Egypt thing, see if I can do it. And I basically just got shoehorned into Tahrir Square in the Arab Spring, and I made a documentary which went viral. And then, as you say, the rest is history from there. So, yeah, so crazy.
Marty, what was the subject of this documentary in Egypt?
So we looked at story about this magical things happened in Tahrir Square, and it's been, you know, a revolution, and not just Tahrir Square, Tunisia and elsewhere, but for Egypt it was about, you know, what happens next in the country. You know, you've toppled, you've revolted, and just, you know, the story is, look, you know, all these businessmen have been arrested, and the structure and all the logistics have been, you know, taken down and taken away, and what happens next? You know, great event, but what happens next? And yeah, it went viral. I think ABC News in America picked it up. I did an interview with them as well. It's all on YouTube, and yeah, it was that was the moment where I was like, you know what, I'm quite good at this. Maybe I can do this as a career. You know, feed my wife and kids and make a living from it. And yeah. So okay, as the projects went on, I went from Egypt, and then I did some work in Palestine, and then I went off to South Sudan again, and Africa, all around Africa, and Kazakhstan, America, all across America. So yeah, so just the jobs led to more work, and just purely proving that I can create content and deliver content that I promise, and then it just sort of spirals, you know. And I did the Invictus Games 2016 in Orlando. That was a 9-month project, so that was a great project because it was veterans and it was a good cause. And what happened was, I think February that year, I mean, the games went until the summer, but February they brought me into New York to do a TV commercial for the Invictus Games, and they loved it so much that I stayed from February 9 months on to deliver content for them. So because I was a veteran as well, and I knew the subject matter inside out, and it was authentic, and it wasn't cheesy, and it wasn't, you know, I got the tone right from day one. So, and then yeah, 9 months of work all around America. It was incredible. So yeah, so all these great projects. But my ultimate passion is one day to be a live action film director, to work with actors and to direct content. I've done some cool short films online at the moment, but yeah, my ultimate dream, well, until I get a bloody agent, is to start making feature films.
Wow. It certainly started off on the right foot, and it's an awful lot of hard work, isn't it?
It's hard work. There's a lot of pressure, and there's so much similarities between military and the film and television industry. You've got a hierarchy in place. You have powers that be. You have a hierarchy. You have to report to producers, execs, whatever, studios, you know, who have the money. And ultimately, it's one big team effort. Unfortunately, you do get some film directors and filmmakers who think, you know, have the ego and the God mentality, and they come on set and they think it's all about them. And it's the total opposite mindset. Filmmaking and TV content creation is a massive team effort. You've got SQs, you've got specialist qualifications, you've got art departments, you've got camera, costume, makeup, etc. So you have objectives, you have daily objectives, you have weekly, you have monthly, you have quarterly objectives. As a filmmaker anyway. As a director, you've got to come on set and you've got to inspire. You've got to inspire people. And there's that famous story of Mel Gibson on Braveheart, where I think he was hemorrhaging millions of dollars every day on that set. He was hemorrhaging it out. He was wasting it. He was, you know, it was in shit shape behind the scenes. And he would always come on set with a smile on his face. He would inspire his crew and his cast, because they didn't want, you know, for him, they're part of the massive part of the process, and for them to be weighed down with his own problems was the wrong attitude. And I always respect
leadership, mate.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
True leadership.
100%. Yeah. So when I'm on set, yeah. So when I walk on set now, and you've got to, you know, it's a bit like sort of looking at somebody in the eye and going, if I ask you to fix bayonets right now, will you follow me into battle? And it's same in the film and television industry. Are you ready to come on a journey with me? Yes or no? Do you trust me to getting you through from A to B? Yes or no? Yes, let's go then. You know, it's crazy. It's actions on. You've got, you know, in your orders, you've got, you know, you go through your actions on with the lads, and on set, you know, I'm responding to stuff. So I'm problem solving all the time. We're problem solving all the time. So a costume designer comes to me and go, Marty, this frock or this frock, that frock, makeup, this cut, that one. I'm literally constantly making choices and decisions and problem solving. I remember one time, assistant director came to me and she had a petrified look on her face. And she came up to me and she was, Marty, I've got to tell you something. This has happened. And rather than sort of as she's been used to in her experience. You know, the director's sort of throwing the dolls out the pram and started to squawk like a baby. I've just said, okay, then, so what needs to be done now then to address this issue? Well, I think we should do this. Then do it. Brilliant, do it. And then she was like, okay, you're not mad. It's like, well, no, I'm not mad. We're just responding to shit that's happening, you know, as it's happening. You know, and she was like, oh, so that's what I'm bringing to the industry is not, I'm relaxed, but I'm, you know, it's that experience from, you know, tackling things head on. And I tell you what, you know, being able to operate on 14-hour days, sometimes, you know, it's for 3 to 6, maybe 8 weeks, and, you know, working long hours, 6-day weeks sometimes you have a block of 6 days, sometimes you have 5 days, whatever it is. And they love to booze. Film and TV crews love to booze, and it's the same. Being able to operate still shite as the next day is a skill as well. So you've just got to crew up the right people. You've got to have the right people around you, and sometimes there is the odd dick and the jack bastard in the group, but it's part of the thing. But yeah, it's similarities are it's very, very tight between the military and the film and television industry.
But it is like a big operation, isn't it? It's
oh yeah.
And let's just touch then on when you're watching something on the mainstream television, right?
Not the news.
Yeah, not the news. Don't watch the news, folks. Not if you want to be, you know, if you want to really know what's going on in the world. So you're watching the mainstream, and it's some music awards are kind of the famous for it.
Yeah.
And there's a clear satanic underlying theme running with all the symbolism.
Yeah.
You know, the eye and all this stuff. They chucked it all in there. Who the hell in the production process has the power to cram all this in, you know?
The commissioner. So and don't get me wrong, symbolism will be their downfall, will be their eventual downfall. And so a commissioner, for example, like Channel 4, even like before this scandemic broke, literally sent me what they are purely looking for 2020, 2021. This is what they're looking for, you know. And they have a narrative. They you know, they control the content as well. So it comes down to commissioners. Commissioners have the ultimate say so of what gets broadcast. They have the official sign off. You know, that's to, you know. So they already know what they want from content. So that's why content sometimes has to be scripted. You know, sometimes reality has to be scripted because they want this outcome by the end of it. And 2, you know, they have official sign off anyway. So they have like God kind of oversight of yes or no. It's like the gladiator, thumb up or thumb down.
These celebrities then, do they realize what they're involved in, or are they definitely Satanists?
There's more people than you know are involved. I mean, Hollywood is a cesspit of. I mean, once it all comes out, you're going to be shocked by the names on that list.
Oh no, I won't. Well,
no, your audience. People
at home will be. I won't. I know who's on that list.
Yeah.
You know, but Marty, I get the game. I understand, right? I was saying this the other day, and someone someone messaged me. They didn't get what I was trying to say. What I was trying to say is, a lot of us people in the producing industry, the arts, let's call it, and I'm, don't big myself up there. I'm pretty crap at this, but, you know, the reason we come into this kind of game, TV, music, whatever it might, writing in my case, it's to fulfill a need. And it's because we're desperately missing from having traumatized childhoods, whatever it is. And we're looking for recognition, and we're looking for, you know, I'm talking in bland terms. Obviously, everybody's individual, right? You know, but we want a pat on the head. We want to show people, look, I'm good. I can do this. Like, the thing is, when it comes to, say, like Hollywood or the music industry, you have hundreds of thousands of these people. And not only that, but they are all exceptionally brilliantly talented at what they do. and they all want that recognition that you get when you walk the red carpet or you get your music award, right? So these psycho, satanic, whatever, whoever the hell they are, here's how they work it. They put a glass ceiling on all these people, and then they cherry pick the ones that come up through, but only when they sign the Faustian agenda.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Yep.
and if you're going, what the hell's that? It's basically an occultic pact that will give you fame. Don't you worry about that. Right?
Yeah, a certain young American singer's come out, very famous young American singer. Well, he's fairly young. He said he got to the stage of the ritual and he backed out, and he's very, very famous, and he didn't progress, and he basically just, no, I'm not doing that. That's just crazy. And then poof.
Marty, I walked through Heathrow Airport on my way to my book launch in Hong Kong, right? It's quite a nice moment for me because having come from chronic addiction and, you know, all this meant, you know, and psychosis and all the rest of it, I walked through at the airport and my book was I think it was like number 14 bestseller or number 12 bestseller. And I was one above James Corden and one below Gary Neville, which I'm never going to argue at that, right? So I'm on the bestseller list, which is, you know, I'm telling you folks, if you're watching, take action because your goals won't come to you. You know, one day I sat down and thought, right, I'm going to write a book and let's make it a good one, you know, and that, anyway, that's another story. Now, here's the thing. What's old James Corden doing on the front of his book like they all do? He's doing the all-seeing eye or the Illuminati.
Well, look at his Late Show. Look at his success with the Late Show.
What happens to James Corden? You know, in the preceding year, oh, he just becomes like the biggest celebrity in the whole wide world. When, and no disrespect to him, he's not actually that. He hasn't really got much personality. He's a bit of a tosser. He's kind of like the guy at school that he was like all right, but he had
Joe Average. Yeah.
And this is not a criticism. We're all human, and as many faults as I've just pointed out in James Corden, I have in myself. Absolutely, right. But what I'm saying is, he's not exactly a charismatic kind of people. Yep. You know, he's not like your God. You know, he's not like your Muhammad Ali bloody type, is he? You know, a real good, solid guy you can believe in. Anyway, so prime example, they get to this thing, they get across the glass ceiling, they want that stardom, they want that, you know, they're always given a taste of it. They're given their TV show, or they're allowed, their first novel is allowed to go to press. Yeah. As long as their novel is about childhood witchcraft, I'm just putting that out there. Yeah. I'm not saying J.K. Rowling is a Satanist. I'm just saying they love that stuff, don't they? Anything that corrupts the young mind, wizardry and ghosts and all that sort of stuff. So they give you this taste of it. So you get your first book deal, your first top of the pops, and then it's taken away. Yeah. It's taken away because they got so much other food to put on the table. You become a nothing again. And then, of course, what do? You've had this taste and now you're a nobody again. Yeah. Then they come back to you and go, oh, did you want to be a somebody again if you sign here? And it's too much for them to resist. And like I say, they're signing a Faustian pact, which is, in other words, a deal with the devil. You're going to get riches beyond belief. You're going to get anything you want, but there will be conditions on it. Yeah. And there is entry, and you got to pay the fees to enter. And they ain't very nice, mate, are they?
No, it's shows how desperate they are to have fame and stardom, and it's people are going to be extremely shocked. Some people just aren't going to process it for in the short term. They're going to be, it literally will be like you've been living in a movie for all their life and what they've known of life. It's a bit like when when it all comes out eventually. I think people are just going to have problems processing it all.
Yeah. gosh. But here's the thing, though. Hollywood was founded on the occult, wasn't it? If you know your history.
Yeah.
I from what I understand, and like all these things in life, I'm not a friggin' expert, don't pretend to be, but you had these very entrepreneurial young men running around New York back in the kind of, you know, the golden age, and they were, to make money, they were starting these cinemas and you just paid a nickel, hence the name Nickelodeon. Hence the company now, I'm guessing, that has the pyramid with the all-seeing eye as one of their logos. You see it when you go to the cinema, right? So they're all running around New York trying to make a buck or two. And they started to face stiff competition from companies like Kodak and Edison, I think, or all these other sort of companies were putting their prices up and controlling the market. So these young boys said, right, well, let's go out west. We'll take our businesses out there. So they went out west like the old settlers did do, and they formed the film industry out there. And they called it Hollywood because the Hollywood wood from the holly tree, not the holly bush, I don't believe. I think it's a tree called the holly tree or something. I don't pretend to know. But anyway, traditionally that was what they used, that wood, to make the magic wands back in the days where they would have their, you know, sort of, I don't know, pagan's the right word, because pagan means you don't believe in anything, doesn't it? But
yeah,
you know, you're like your I don't know enough about it. If anyone knows, put it in the comments.
Yeah.
But that was what they made the magic wand, and the magic wand was to cut the air to let the spirits through. So these young guy, you know, they were all well up on the occult and just from their kind of like histories and yeah, that's the foundation of Hollywood. Is it something like, Mark, have you heard similar?
Yeah, it's I've just literally finished a CIA document on Disney, Walt Disney and Disneyland, and a fascinating paper. And yeah, I think if you look at who controls now, who controls everything now? I mean, Disney have bought out Marvel, and they've got an umbrella of companies they own, news outlets, and you name it. And it again, it comes down to everything's in plain sight. It's just whether you're willing to break away from what you've been taught is to watch mainstream media. As long as you're willing to break away from mainstream media and find this research, it's all there. It's all there. And I know recently Google have the algorithms and the search. The search sort of limitations are being taken away from a lot of subject matter now, so you can do your own research, and there's a lot of stuff you I mean, even like the FBI have released, not recently, but I think 5-6 years ago now, they released pedophile symbolism and what they use to sort of communicate with each other, symbolism. And again, goes down to symbolism being their downfall. And you look at these logos, and then you look at logos that are around to this day, and it's all connected. It's a creepy underground world, and but it's also in plain sight. It's crazy, you know. And I've been down the Disney Walt Disney rabbit hole recently. So yeah,
the way it seems to work with the occult is, so long as they put it in plain sight, so they basically put this symbolism in front of our faces.
Yeah,
they tell you what global catastrophe they're going to create next. And they'll put that in the movies. You are watching it, right? Thinking it's, hey, this is, you know, a program where an airplane just happens to crash into a certain building. You know, it's all there. And the reason is, so long as they put it in front of you, they're allowed to go and commit it, this atrocity.
Yeah. Look at the 2012 London Olympics ceremony. You know, just go and Google that. Yeah, it's all about a pandemic. It's all about a virus and children being, you know, in hospital, and Big Boris is in there and in his bed and hospital bed, and that's 2012, and
it's very weird actually. When Boris Johnson was in Burma, bloody hell, he was on an official visit. But you've got to remember what I'm saying about James Corden, the priming. that you have to do these, jump through the hoops, to be in this gang, right? Well, Boris is there in, I think my geography's right. Mandalay is in Burma, is that right? It's a place in Burma.
You got a map behind you.
Yeah, well, I know. I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that detailed, mate. Anyway,
right.
It's not that important.
Yeah, Burma.
It's just that it's just he was on this official visit, and he was, I don't know. Let's just say, for argument's sake, they were opening a bloody statue or something, and he starts to sing on the road to Mandalay. That, you know, that is it a Kipling? I think it's a Kipling poem. He starts to recite it. Typical. You're thinking it's public school boy. It's Boris. He's just, you know, he's
eccentric.
Here's the thing. I think it's quite a racist. In our terms now, it's quite a racist poem because it's like the days of the, you know, the British Empire and how we've. So Boris starts to recite this poem, da da da, on the road to Mandalay, and the governor of the country goes, shut up. Yep. You know, quickly shuts him up because it's, like I say, I think it's got connotations of racism. I might be slightly wrong, but, well, what happened the next week, in the next couple of days, it might have been in the next week, well, it was that big shooting. I don't want to say the name of the place, but, you know, in a certain place in America, from a hotel named...
A false flag.
The Mandalay.
Yep.
Right? From the Mandalay Hotel. 2 days after Boris, who, happens to become Britain's Prime Minister. You know, he's been let through the glass ceiling, you know. But no, mate, you don't have to apologise to anyone because, like I said, it's, you know, it's... I don't know where you progress with this, Marty. I'm just following peace in my life, you know.
Yeah. I've found pockets of people. I mean, you know, we found each other, and we haven't been looking for each other. We just found each other with the same sort of shift in mindset and shift in thinking. So. And we're happy to be the minority. We're happy, you know, again, going back to the point my friend told me about, you know, you're at the still point. So you're at the still point in the sense that you've done all this research yourself. You know what is the truth. And when the tornado strikes and it leaves an aftermath of, you know, the devastation, all you can do is be there for people and answer questions for them and provide research which you've collated yourself over the years, and obviously more years for yourself. But yeah, I think you just gotta, I've tried the scare tactics, I've tried the trying to educate. It's just some people just don't want to hear it, and which is a fair one. So you just got to be ready for when it happens. So
it's I'm quite glad I'm over that stage, really, because it's quite a leveler, you know, when you find that people that you've known that you thought were sort of like your best friends, and then they turn around and laugh at you, and then you think it's actually like, are you really my you know? I'm not talking about like the hurt or pain or anything, because I've never felt that hurt and pain, because you know, if I'm talking to someone that they left school, they maybe went to college or whatever, or then they got a job and they're still in that job, the same job that now, or at least in the same industry, and their sort of travel experience is limited to their 2 weeks holiday, you know, a year. They religiously watch football all day long on a Saturday, and they put the BBC News on thinking that that's, you know, informational or educational at 6 o'clock. Marty, I don't expect them to think the same as me. What, you know, and I don't ever think that they've, like, you know, that it's the fucking, they're the blind leading the blind, isn't it? Really, come on.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's. I think I'm just proud that you've arrived at this place because you make my life better, mate. Or you rectify my life, and if you're a family man, or if you respect children, that what world are we creating for them? Well, people that are shoving their head in the sand, they ain't creating nothing. Except more pain, war, disaster, chaos, misery, mutation, just a horrible sequence of events, isn't it?
So I always sort of look forward and say, what how am I going to answer my young kids with a sense of, Dad, what did you do when there was a massive push for a new world order? And I'll be like, well, I fought back. I did this, this, and this. I didn't follow the sheep. I didn't follow the herd. I actually fought back. And again, I'm not an anarchist. I'm not going to run out with weaponry and cause havoc. It's just, you just don't know what's going to happen over the next few years. And it sounds quite sensational, but I want to tell my children that, you know what, I did stand up. I did fight back with my own means. And I am proud of my actions. And I always say to my friends, I'd rather wear a tinfoil hat than a blindfold.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing as well, isn't it? You start to see how the game's played. I mean, like I say, 27 years ago, mate, no longer than that. What am I talking about? I was 23 years. I saw it. I saw it in Hong Kong as well when I saw Evil over there, with the Triads. Most people walked down the street, just they didn't know what a Triad was. They didn't see how they dressed. They didn't see them on the street corners, communicating by, doing this. All this is communication. They didn't see any of it. And when you went that Triad over there, they'd be like, huh? What? Triad? You're mad. And this is, we know this, we know this, and it's fine. But it's the little mechanisms they use that fascinate me, where they get the whole of the public psyche to repeat these mantra isn't the right word, but these little bits of information that they don't even analyze. And I'm going to give you some examples and see if you relate to them. One of them is, vaccines. That was just some crazy doctor. He's been, that when you hear everybody saying that, that's a plant. That is information that's been planted into the public psyche, knowing that the public sees that, sees, repeat, without actually being able to analyze. Another one, the CIA shelved their MK Ultra program in the 60s. How many times do you hear that? How many times, Oh, really? Okay, so let's just think about this. So they had a program where you could actually control another human being from a distance with no mechanics or anything like that, just by saying one keyword, and which is just, incredible achievement. And what do they do? They shelved it. Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, of course. Because why would you not want to be able to manipulate someone with one key? But the little line that's put into society is, culture, the CIA shelved that back in the 60s. And that's just what gets repeated and repeated. Like you said, the term conspiracy theorist was the Bush empire trying to cover up for the fact that they killed JFK, and to make anyone who questioned it, which most people did at the time. At the time, nobody believed Lee Harvey, it was like 80% of Americans didn't believe it was Lee Harvey Oswald. And of course, they had to fix that. They had to brainwash these 80%, so they thought like the 20. So they came out with the term conspiracy theorists to make anybody questioning the official narrative look wacko and whack job. Yeah, fascinating, isn't it?
It is. It's nice to be on this side of the fence, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't kind of like, I like I say, I made my peace with it, you know. I get on and live my life, and I'm well aware that, you know.
It's funny, I tried to red pill on a friend of mine, or best friend from Liverpool, a few weeks ago, and I didn't heavily red pill him. I said, look, here's the option. I put up a little pack together, a few links. Here you go. And then the joy of that was, didn't hear much from him. And then he's starting to do his own research now. And Marty, have you seen this link? Have you seen this story? Have you seen this article? And so I haven't forcefully red pilled him. I just said, look, I left the red pill at his doorstep, and I went right, and I ran away again. You know, and he's slowly getting there. But you know, I'm not preaching. I'm not forcing anything upon anybody. I'm just saying, look, the information is right there, and it's the fact that the mainstream media, even in America, it's even worse, but have been proven to be using footage from like Hurricane Katrina of people with shopping trolleys outside supermarkets, and you know, it's the hospitals are like it's like a front line, it's like a bloodbath, and you know, all this brainwashing, and then hospitals are dead. And then you got like 3,000 TikTok videos from nurses from America, 3,000 last month, I believe, or I don't know, but fucking shitloads of TikTok videos of like dance routines of nurses. I'm like, obviously not the fucking front line, is it? Because you're doing TikTok routines.
It's just insane.
That's another podcast.
But it's just insane, you know. We're in such violent, desperate times that all the frontline hospital staff have got to go and make videos for like 13-year-olds, you know. That's how fucking this is how pathetically corrupted we've become as a species, that grown people think it's okay to make TikTok videos. Yeah. And it's those exact same people that are going on social media going, I saw someone walking down the beach, you know, fucking bastards. You know, they
My mate was doing some fizz in a park down the road here, and he was doing pull-ups, and some woman and a kid came over, and the woman, who was a doctor apparently, shouting to him, you're killing people, get off, stop what you're doing, you know, you're not allowed in here. And he's like, I'm just doing some pull-ups. You know, this bar's hardly ever used anyway. And no, it's all this sort of like, you're killing people.
Just for anybody listening, if what Martin are saying either doesn't make sense or it clashes with what you believe, just ask yourself one question. Have you read 1984? If the answer is no, please go away and read it.
Homework.
Go away and read it, and then, you know, we won't have this conversation again. If the answer is yes, you won't be questioning us, is it? Yeah, you know. Yeah.
There's a good documentary called Out of Shadows, which has got, I think, 10 million hits now. That was made by a stuntman from Hollywood and a few other filmmakers, but this stuntman came out and basically blew the lid off all this Satanism and this occult activity in Hollywood. So you can't find it if you search for it. YouTube have put some blocks on it. It's been reaching people that it wouldn't normally reach, which is great. Yeah. It looks at the film industry. Just as one case study, you know, you've got the music industry, you've got all sorts, but it looks at Hollywood and the realities of what we just talked about over the last hour a bit.
So Marty, let's bring this to a close before before everyone falls asleep listening.
I know, yeah.
No, I'm absolutely joking. I think people will find it fascinating, and why shouldn't they? But what's your plan next?
Plan next is I'm making a documentary. I've had funding, not so much funding pulled. I'm not getting supported locally to make it, which is fine because I'll just get it made anyway. It's again, going back to what we talked about alternative treatments to combating people with trauma, having trauma problems. Not just veterans, we're looking at paramedics, priests, sexual abuse victims, etc. And we're showing them that there are alternative methods out there. And it's quite funny because when I interviewed my Kambo, Kambo, which is what I'm doing at the moment, the cleansing, I asked him, you know, so what is it about this unconventional treatment? And he stopped me and he said, Marty, this is not unconventional treatment. This has been around for thousands of years in the Amazon. Pharmaceuticals are unconventional. They've been around for 100 years or whatever. You know, and he sort of, I'm learning as a filmmaker, I'm learning as well as I go along, but that's a passion project, as in, I want to get that made. It's quite powerful. And Jason Fox has agreed to come on and host it and be the vehicle, be the sort of audience's POV all the way through it. So, which is a great help, because as we know in this industry, you know, a face makes a massive difference, and having someone, you know, as Foxy, someone as popular as Foxy, helps with the project massively, and he's come on board 100%. So, which is great.
He's a good guy, man, isn't he? Fox has agreed to be the patron for my charity mountain bike ride next year.
Yeah, that's the joy of working with Bootnecks as well. And I know he's SB as well, but with Bootnecks I met him a few years ago, and he flew over to Belfast, and we did a day shoot together, and it was just like natural. It was just like we were having banter and just cracking on with it. And you know, it just I don't know. Oh, my light's gone off. That's a good sign. Right, the light's gone off. Don't worry. Yeah, but yeah, so that's a passion project, and then but my ultimate dream is like I said before, is to direct feature films, and I've got two military themed feature films. One an SBS in Afghanistan feature film looking at demons and Islamic demons and the jinn, etc., which is really cool. And another feature film script I've just finished with another bootneck friend of mine from his experience on the circuit with MI5 and MI6 and ISIS and stuff. So yeah, ultimately my dream is to direct feature films, but at the moment I'm still carrying on with my factual work. So
brilliant. Well, I hope I can help you in any way, shape or form.
Yeah, ditto as well. Yeah.
I can. I know you're going to support me, mate. So well, you already have done by coming on my podcast. Thank you. Please, we'll stay on the line, Marty, because stay on this line while I click the record button off. But big love and respect to you and your family, to our friends at home. Hope this has been an enlightening podcast. Massive love to you all. Please look after yourselves. Please like and subscribe, and really that really helps support the channel.
Pay the £2.
Pay the £2. Pay the £2.
Only £2.
I'll get rid of the banner. Take care, friends. Friend, thank you for watching my video. I'm the only person I know that has ticked every item off my bucket list, and I did so coming back from chronic addiction with no help from anybody. Now I want to pass those skills on to you, but I can't help you unless you help me and hit the subscribe button. So please do so, and let's go and smash this world together.